In every war, there are stories the world never hears. Stories buried in silence, erased by time, or ignored because they don't fit neatly into the pages of history books. But this story is different. It's about one man, a soldier who didn't belong to one flag, one side, or one cause. He belonged only to survival. His name was Daniel Carter, an ordinary man from Oklahoma, raised on a small patch of land during the harsh years of the Great Depression. Life in the 1930s wasn't easy. His family knew hunger, cold winters, and the crushing weight of poverty. Yet Daniel grew up believing in one thing: discipline. His father used to say, "Son, a man who quits when he's tired will never make it through life. But the man who fights even when he's broken, he wins." Those words became Daniel's compass long before the world erupted into chaos. When World War II began, Daniel didn't hesitate. Like millions of young Americans, he answered the call of duty. He wanted to serve his country, to protect the ideals of freedom and honor. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1941, a bright-eyed 20-year-old who believed that courage could change the world. But war is never what it looks like in posters or speeches. By the time Daniel landed in Europe, he had seen friends buried, heard cries in the dark, and learned that the line between hero and victim is often just one bullet wide. The winter of 1943 changed everything. His unit was caught behind enemy lines during a mission in France. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and surrounded. For 3 days, Daniel fought through the mud and snow, his rifle frozen to his hands, his mind drifting between fear and duty. When they finally ran out of ammunition, the German soldiers moved in. Daniel was captured, his dream of heroism swallowed by the silence of defeat. In the German camp, time lost meaning. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months. Food was scarce, punishment was constant, and hope felt like a distant rumor. But even in captivity, Daniel held on to one truth: "I will not die a prisoner." Then came the twist that would change his destiny forever. As the war raged on, Germany's manpower was thinning. Captured soldiers, especially those who spoke multiple languages or had mechanical skills, were sometimes offered a grim choice: fight for survival or die forgotten. Daniel, desperate and disillusioned, was given that choice. Either remain a prisoner and starve or join a foreign unit, one that worked under the Axis command but wasn't fully trusted. He didn't want to betray his country, but in that frozen camp, survival wasn't about loyalty anymore. It was about breath, hunger, and the instinct to live one more day. So, Daniel made a choice that would haunt him forever. He put on the uniform of the enemy, but deep down he made himself a silent promise: "I may wear their flag, but my heart will always belong to home." From that moment on, he lived in the shadows, an American soldier in a German uniform, a man torn between two sides of a war he never truly believed in. Every sunrise was a lie, every mission a test of his soul. He carried guilt, fear, and shame, but he also carried an unbreakable will to survive. And sometimes, in the face of hell, survival itself is the greatest act of courage. Because Daniel's story wasn't about sides. When Daniel Carter first put on that gray German uniform, it felt like poison on his skin. Every stitch screamed betrayal. Every insignia on his sleeve felt like a scar burning into his soul. Yet, in the bitter cold of the European front, survival demanded choices that morality couldn't understand. He wasn't fighting for Hitler. He wasn't fighting for an empire. He was fighting for a heartbeat, his own. The Germans placed him in a logistics division, far from the front lines at first. His fluency in English and his mechanical skill made him useful. He repaired engines, helped translate intercepted messages, and maintained vehicles that roared across Europe's frozen veins. To everyone else, he was just another weary face among thousands of men trying to survive another day of war. But Daniel was different. Beneath that enemy uniform, his American heart beat with conflict and guilt. Every night, he stared at the stars, whispering to the same sky he had once looked at from Oklahoma. "If I make it out alive, I'll make it right," he told himself. Then fate threw him into the fire again. In 1944, as the German front crumbled, Daniel's unit was transferred to the Eastern Front. The brutal, frozen battlefield against the Soviet army. It was a living nightmare. The snow was red with blood, the ground shook with artillery, and men froze standing where they fell. Hunger was constant, fear was oxygen, and hope was extinct. On one freezing night, after a long day of battle, Daniel found himself standing over a wounded Soviet soldier. The man was young, barely 18, shivering, bleeding, terrified. Daniel could have left him to die. Instead, he tore off a piece of his own uniform, pressed it against the wound, and whispered, "Hold on, you're going to make it." In that moment, he wasn't German or American. He was simply human. That act of mercy didn't go unnoticed. A week later, during a Soviet counterattack, Daniel's unit was overrun.